project. So the topics for the today's last session will be variable and argument. Okay, so first we'll discuss in detail what is variable and how we can create variable in the UI path for any particular automation project for the robotics process automation. Okay, and then after variable we'll see argument, and then we'll discuss about the difference between variable and argument. Okay. So since okay, so before going to discuss UI path, so I think you all have already downloaded this UI Path Studio community version. So I'm just going to open and then share the screen so that we can discuss all the process of how we can create the variable in the UI Path Studio. Just wait a second. So variables are basically a symbolic name, and that is basically used to store the multiple data types. Okay, so variable we can define like that. Variable may be defined as the symbolic name associated with a value that may change, okay, depending upon the data types. So in UI path, basically variable are of different types, and that are range from the text to generic value, data table, time and date, and array type. So we'll see all this variable one by one in detail. First, today we'll discuss in this session we'll discuss the theoretical portion in detail. After that, we'll make any project, and then we'll use all this type of variable. Okay, so we can also define variable as like these are the containers that can hold multiple data entries of the same data types. The value of variable can change through an external input. So basically, the variable is used to store the information provided by the user. Okay, so we can change the input, or you can say that we can change the value of the variable as provided by the user or as provided by the external input source. Or we can also change the value of the variable by data manipulation or passing from one activity to another. So we'll see how we can change the value of variable once we'll see the example of some automation project. So one important use of variable is that we can control the number of times the body of a loop is executed because the value of variable can change. So once we like make any automation project, so basically in UI path we have 4 different type of files, or you can say the workflows. So I will show you from where we can create those 4 different type of workflow or files. So we have basically sequence, and then we have let me open then just a second. So you have like sequence, state machine, then global handler, and where we can. So once we click on the new, we can see these are our 4 different type of files with names are like sequence, flowchart, state machine, and global handler. So these variable are very important once we work on any type of file, say like sequence or any flowchart or state machine. To store the data provided by the user, we have to create a variable. Okay, so basically this variable are used to store the any value or any like input provided by the user that are basically required in our automation. Okay, so we'll see this. We'll see one example after this how we can create the variable. So we have like various options for creation of this variable in the UI path. So so we'll see like for the creation of the variable through UI path, we have the variable panel. Okay, so madam has already explained in detail regarding the various panel. But for this session, I will discuss mainly about the variable panel, not about the other panel. So actually, I have already opened this UI path. So let me open this designer panel so that we can see the where is the variable panel is located on the UI path studio. So you can see here participants. This is our basically designer panels, and this is our main panel. Under this, these are you can see here these are the 3 options like variables, arguments, imports. These 3 options you can easily see on the bottom of my screen, left side of on the bottom of my screen. The first option you can see here is this is the variables. So once we click on this variables, so we'll get this variable panel. Okay, so this like under this panel we are getting 4 different options. The first one is the name option, and after that we are getting variable type, scope, and default. All these 4 options has different functions to do, or you can say the different functions to perform. So we'll see all this one by one. We can see here these options are not enabled right now because we have not dropped any files here. Okay, so once we drop any file out of the 4 files which I have discussed earlier, that we have basically 4 different type of file you can see here: sequence flowchart, state machine, and global handler. So once we create any file out of these 4 files, then only this 4 option is going to be enabled. Then we can create the variable, and as per our requirement and as per our automation project, we can name our variable. And for the naming of any variable, this UiPath has some certain rules, or you can say that certain naming convention. We'll discuss that. And then depending upon the data types, we can provide the type of the variable, and then scope and default. So we'll discuss this thing all these 4 different type of field one by one. So as I've already shown you guys how we can create the variable in the variable panel. So as the name suggests, the variable panel is used to create variable and enable us to make changes to them. So we can create variable as well as we can also change. We can also make changes to the variable depending upon our requirements. So the following screenshot will give an insight about the variable panel. So in the above screenshot, we have noticed that there are 4 different type of fields, and those fields are namely name field, variable type, scope, and default. So I'm going to discuss these fields one by one. The first field, which is very important, is name field. So it is a mandatory field, and we must have to give a name to the variable. Like if you are working on any automation project, earlier while discussing the definition portion of the variable, I have discussed there that the variable are basically used to store the data types provided by the user. Okay, so we have to name the type of variable so that we can distinguish on which project, on which data types we are providing to our particular automation project. Okay, so this name field is kind of mandatory, and it is very important field. So suppose if you are not giving any name, then UiPath Studio will generate one automatically, and that that basically is with the name like variable 1, variable 2. If the user do not name any, if user do not provide any name to the variable, then a automatic, or you can say the by default name for that particular variable is going to be created by the UiPath Studio, and the name of that particular variable will be like variable 1, variable 2, and so on. So it is recommended highly that we should follow the naming convention. We'll see the naming convention. So for the naming of any variable, it is highly recommended that we should follow the naming convention. So the second field is, after the name, is variable type. So depending upon the data types, we have different kind of variable types. So we can and for selection of the variable type, we just click on the variable type drop down list, and from there we can select the variable type. Like we have boolean, integer type, then string type, object, generic value, array, and we can also browse from the list of the variable type apart from this, and we can select any variable type depending upon our requirement. Okay, so this is about variable type. We'll again discuss this variable type one by one. So basically the boolean type will provide the the type of the variable.
दरवाजा तो लेवे ना करता है। नाम तो रहे सचिव राज्य प्राविधिक शिक्षा परिषद बिहार पटना। कौन ज्यादा लंबा चौड़ा है?
सर प्लीज म्यूट ऑडियो सर। So depending upon the data types or the input data type that we are basically working with, we can select that particular, ranging from the boolean till array. We'll see all this data type one by one, and we'll try to discuss the example on each of this variable type. And after that, the third field which comes is you can see here, the third field is the scope field. So this is basically also a mandatory field which shows the area in which the variable is available. Okay. So basically the scope is it basically describes about the area in which we are working with. Suppose that I have already discussed that in the UI path we have 4 different type of files: sequence file, and global handler, flowchart, and state machine. So depending upon the file in which we are working, so we have to define the scope of that particular file. Suppose that if you are working on the flowchart, or you can say that if you are working in the state machine file, then accordingly we have to define the scope. Okay, so everything will be clear once we'll take an example, and once we'll discuss all these files in detail. Okay, so these all 4 different type of files are going to be discussed in very much detail in the coming sessions. So there we'll see how we can assign the scope to our variable. Okay, so basically its scope is like mandatory field, and it basically defines the area in which the variable is available. Okay, so for example, if you choose the activity type sequence, then scope of the variable would be sequence, and so on. So let me show how we can define the scope. Suppose that this is our main panel, or you can the designer panel. Suppose that if you are working on the sequence file, so we can select the sequence file from the activity panel. So you can see here, this is the at the left bottom of my screen, this is the activity of we are getting this activities option here. So once we click on this, from here we can select any type of file. So suppose that if you want to just select the sequence file, so we can select here. Okay, and then you can see here, after just selecting the sequence file, so after getting the sequence file in the activity panel, we can either double click on that particular activity or file, then that particular activity will be automatically dragged to our main designer panel, or we can also drag and drop. Okay, so once we have dropped the sequence file in this designer panel, now we can see this all 4 fields are enabled. Now we can give the name to this variable for this particular file. Okay, and here we can select the type for that particular variable, starting from boolean, integer, string, object, array, and we can also browse here and we can select some other variable type. Okay, and this is the scope. So since this file is the sequence file, therefore this scope of this particular variable will be scope, because we are working in this sequence file. And this is the 4th field, is the default field, and this is basically used to provide the value to our variable, and this is basically used while working with the integer, or we can say the number type of variable, where if you want to provide any value to that particular number variable, then you can provide any default value. Otherwise this default field will be left. So after the scope field, the 4th field is the default field, and it is an optional field. So out of the 4 fields, name field, variable type, and the scope is like mandatory field, but the default field is basically an optional field, and it's up to the user who is working on this automation project. If the user wants to provide any default value to the particular variable, then the user can assign. Otherwise this will be left. So it is an optional field which shows the default value of a variable. For example, if you are working on any number type variable or integer variable, then we can assign any default value to a particular number or integer variable. So this is all about the 4 different type of fields that are available for the variable. So now we'll discuss the types of variable. So the first is the text variable. As its name suggests, such type of variables can store only strings value. For example, if you are working on or if you want to store information like name, last name, user's name, then text or string variable is the option you have to choose. So depending upon the type of data on which we are working, we have to accordingly select the type of variable from the variable drop down list. Okay, so if you are working on any text type of data, then we have to choose the string type variable. The next comes the Boolean variable. These are also called true or false variables. Okay, as we all know that the Boolean value, like the Boolean variables consist of only two, either 0 or 1. Similarly here, and if you can like talk about in this UiPath variable for the Boolean variable, then these are basically called true or false variable, and it has only two possible value out of the true and false. And next comes the integer variable. Again, this is very much clear from the name itself. Such kind of variable can store only integer or int32 value, that is integer information. So to store the information that are basically in the form of number, or you can say the integer, we have to select the type of the variable as the integer variable, and these variables are also known as the number variables. So basically in the integer variable we have some different subtype of numerical variable, like we have int32, that is basically for the signed integers, and like 10 to 299. Again, if you're working on any long integers, okay, so like 10 digit numbers or some more than 10 digit number, then we have to select the system.int64. So once we'll work on any like type of user input that are like number that are greater than length in like some 5 digits, or you can say the 10 digits, then we have to, instead of selecting int32, we have to select this system.int64, that we can select from the variable type drop down list. We can go there, we can browse, and then we can simply search this system.int64, then our long integer variable is going to be selected. Similarly, we can also double the size by selecting this system.double, and this is basically used for the this allows decimals of 15 to 16 digit precision. Okay, so suppose that if you're working on any decimal numbers that are basically like 15 to 16, that requires basically 15 to 16 digit precision, then we have to select this system.double. Okay, so but if you're working on any number variable that are very small in size, then int32 is good. But if you're working on the long type of variable, then this if you're working on this any long variable, then we have to select this system.int64. Similarly, if you're working on the number that are basically decimal type and that require the precision up to the 15 and 16 digit precision, then we have to select the system.double. So depending upon our application or requirement, we can select the different subtype of the integer variable. So these are the type of variable. So now next comes the collections. So as it's
So a lot of softwares are present, but here we are in your activity of what are
integer variable, then string variable,
packages option.
That is basically used to store the single value. But if you want to store more than one type of information, or you can say if you want to store more than one data type, then you have to use this collection. Under this collection, we have the option of array variable. So if you want to store multiple value at the same type, then we have to use this array variable, and we can say that array variable would be suitable. So using this array variable, we can store as many types of array as there are types of variable in UiPath. Okay, so basically in the using this array variable, we can create the array of number of types of variable, as we have the like the data types available, like we can say the Boolean, string, numbers. So we all know what is array. So this array variable is basically used where we want to store more than one values, or we can say where we want to store multiple value. Okay, so this is basically used to store multiple value as compared to the other which we have discussed, like integer or string and boolean. So, and the size of the array is basically fixed, or you can say the size of the array is defined and it is fixed, and it is defined and fixed at while the creation of this array variable. So again, this is used to store multiple value of the same data type. So this is the main important, or you can this is the main thing which we have to keep in mind, that this is basically used to store value of the same data type. And again, the most of the examples that we have discussed till now are simple variables, and that can basically use to store a single value at a time. So we'll see the what is array, and then we'll see the some business scenario where we can use this array variable. So again, we'll discuss once we'll discuss this. We make any project where we'll use this array variable. So what we do basically there, we'll try to store more than one inputs, and we'll try to store that inputs using this array variable. Then we can see that how this array variable is different from the others, and how it can be used to store multiple value at the same time, or the same data types. So the next is so basically what is it? So the array variable is a type of variable that enables storing multiple value of the same data types. We can think of it as a group of elements with a size that is defined at the creation. Okay. So the size cannot be altered for this array variable, and this is basically fixed while creation of this variable. And each time it can be identified by its index. So basically, for accessing any value from this array, we have to use the indexing concept. Like we all know that the indexing like suppose that if we have n number of value in the array, so indexing will start from the 0 and it will go till the n minus 1. The index value for the first element will be like 0, and for the last element it will be n minus 1. To access any element from the array, we have to use the indexing concept. So again, we'll see this again, how we can access any particular element or string value for the text variable from using this indexing concept. So in UiPath Studio, we can create array of number, of a string, of boolean value, and so on. So depending upon the type of variable, we can create those many number of array variable. Okay. So we are going to discuss about some business scenario in which we can use this array. So suppose that if you want to save the name of the months, so since the name of months is like 12 months in a year, so for that, to save that 12 number of months, we have to create a variable, and that variable will be like array variable, so that we can save more than one number of value at the same time. The second example we can consider is when we want to when a fixed collection of bank accounts has to be stored, so and used in the payment process. So again, to store this, like the bank accounts, we have to use the array variable. The third example we can consider when all the invoices paid in the previous month have to be processed. Again, we have to use in all these three examples, we can see that these all examples are basically for the storing of the multiple values, or we can say the multiple inputs that will be provided by the user. So therefore, we have to use the array variable. So this is all about the array variable. Okay, so we have mainly what we have we can get the conclusion from the array variable is that this is basically used to store the multiple value at the same time. And these are some business scenario. Now we'll discuss the some other variable type. Like we have date and time variable, as its name suggests. From the name, we can get the information about this variable. This is kind of variable that enables us to store information about the date and time. So basically, the UiPath Studio provides a function that is known as now function. So by using the now function, we can get the current date and time of variable, and by using this now function, we can get the current date and time, and we can utilize that current date and time later on in our some different automation project where the date and time is required. Okay, so we'll see how we can use this now function to get the current date and time variable. So next comes the data table variable. So this type of variable store big piece of information. So we can also consider this data table variable as the two-dimension variable. This is basically acts as a database or spreadsheet with rows and columns. Why we call this as the two-dimension? Because it stores the information in the forms of rows and columns. As we have already seen the some like the data sets, or you can see the database that are available in the form of CSV format, where we have some rows and columns, and depending upon the application, the informations are stored in the rows and column. Okay. So this data table variable is basically used to store the information in the forms of spreadsheet, where the rows and columns are used. For example, if you want to extract information from a website and want to store it in a spreadsheet, then we have to choose the data table variable. So basically, where we can use this data table variable. So if you want to extract like information from any website, and if you want to store that particular information in a spreadsheet, or you can say the Excel, then there we have to select the type of variable as the data table variable, and then we can work on our particular automation project. So this is in brief about the types of variable. So all the variable have different like functionality, and depending upon the data inputs or data type that are basically provided by the user, or you can say that depending upon the type of application on which the user is basically working on any automation project, we have to select accordingly the variable type. So out of the 4 fields that are there in the variable field, again I'm like repeating the same thing, is like the name field, variable type, and the scope is mandatory. But the 4th field, that is the default field, is like default field. And so now after this, the 4 different type of field that are available in the variable panel for the creation of variable, we'll see the naming convention. So we'll try to discuss the naming convention. So while working in UiPath, we must have to assign names to workflow files. So like let me again open the UiPath so that I can show you all the type up again. So you can see this. We have different here again. We have 4 different type of files, like sequence file, flowchart, state machine, and global handle. So out of these 4 files, actually I have used here this sequence file. So for getting this sequence file from the activity panel to this main panel, we can go there in the activity panel and we can search the sequence file. After getting this sequence, once we'll write here, we'll get this sequence file, and this is the symbol of the sequence file. And once we double click on this sequence activity of file, or you can say this workflow file, is automatically going to be drop here, or we can simply like drag and drop here. So but we have it is depends on the user that how select any particular file. And then we can also rename this particular file. Suppose that if you want to rename this sequence file as the variable, just I want to rename this, so we can also rename any particular workflow or file depending upon our application. I'm simply renaming this particular sequence file as the variable underscore sequence. So depending upon our like application on which we are working, we can rename that particular file. Okay, so after renaming any file
to that, and whatever,
and then depending upon our activity on which we are
2 minutes to officially him, and it will
shortly
creation of
boutiques
variable,
and many more.
the naming convention. So I'm going to discuss that particular naming convention, how we can use this naming convention for the creation of variable. So while working in UI
yourself, and please close your video because in the
so this first point which I am discussing about, we must have to assign names to workflow file. So you can see here, actually I have assigned the name to this workflow file, variable underscore sequence. So once for the naming the workflow file, what we can do, we have to simply double click on this, and then after this will be enabled, this field will be enabled, and then we can rename this file depending upon our application. So this portion is done. Now what we'll see, so after renaming this file, we can create the like we can drop any activity depending upon our application from the activity panel, and then we have to create the variable for storing the value or data type provided by the user. So the name we provide must be meaningful so that the user can be accurately describe the project. The names for the variable we provide must be meaningful so that their uses can be accurately describe the project and the task involved. So we can we can give any name to our variable, but but the name should be meaningful so that we can get any conclusion, or we can get the information accurately about the type of project on which we are working or the tasks that are basically involved. So therefore our variable name should be meaningful, and therefore we have the naming convention that is highly recommended to follow. So to give meaningful name, UiPath provides basically the following naming convention which is recommended to follow. So the variable names must be in upper camel case, these are some of the example of the creation of the variable. You can see here, this is I have created two different variable with the name first name and last name. So here the F is in the camel case, the F is in the capital or uppercase, and similarly N is in the capital case. So what we can see here, the middle of the letter of the phrase should be in the uppercase, or you can say the capital letter. So similarly again here in the last name, this middle letter of the word is in the uppercase or the capital word letter. So this is the naming convention. Again we'll see once we'll discuss about the argument, then again the same naming convention is going to be followed. Variable so the naming convention should be like that. It should reflect the activity on which we are working on. Okay, so the naming for the variable should be like that. It should reflect the activity on which we are working. So basically we have so many number of activity in our activity panel in the UiPath, and depending upon our automation project or application, we have to select any one of the activity from the activity panel, and we have to accordingly for each of the activity we have to use one variable for getting the, or you can say for storing the information from the user. The name of the variable should be meaningful so that it can reflect the activity in which on which we are working, or on which the user is basically working. So this is about the naming convention. The naming convention is the variable should be in the upper camel case. So this is the example you can see here. The first name and the last name you can see here. This the F and N is in the upper case. Similarly for the last name L and N is then upper case. So now we'll see some legal variable and illegal variable, or we can say some valid or invalid variable, so that we can clearly understand what is how we have to follow the legal variable. And apart from this naming convention, you should also have follow some certain rules for the creation of the variable. We'll discuss in the coming slides how we can create any variable. So just I have quoted here some of the legal variable. You can refer here. So this is first variable my_name, and this first name is in the upper camel case. So these are some legal variable, but this is some of the variable is in the upper camel case and some of the are not upper camel case. That means even if we do not create our variable name by using the naming convention, that also variable is going to be executed in the UiPath automation, but we have to follow the naming convention. That would be highly recommended. But anyone, if the user is not willing to follow the naming convention, then he has to follow some certain rules. Then he can create the variable according to his choice. So we'll discuss that how where we have to follow certain rules. We'll see those rules, how we can create any variable. So but for the naming of the variable, the preferring of the upper camel case is highly recommended. So these are some legal variable, and you can find here all these variable names are basically case insensitive. So we'll see this, what is the case insensitive. and I have quoted here some illegal variable. That means these variable are not valid for the UiPath automation example or project. So you can see here any variable that is basically starting with any numbers that are not valid, or you can say these are the illegal variable. And this you can see here first we are getting some like dash between first and name. Therefore, this is again a case of, for example, of illegal variable. And if you provide any space between two different words, then again the same is going to be illegal variable. So these are some list of illegal variable. Let me show you all how we can create a variable. So just I'm going to create a variable for this workflow file whose name is variable underscore sequence. So suppose that I'm just going to create. So for the creation of variable, we have to click on this particular file. Once we click on this, okay, so once we click on this, so property panel, you can see here, this is the property panel that you can see here on the right side of my screen, where my cursor is presently located. This is the property panel which is open on the right side. So from the property panel also we can create the variable, but now I'm just explaining how we can create the variable using this variable panel. So this is our file that is variable underscore sequence. So if I want to create the variable for this particular file, so how I can create? So I'm just going to click on this variable panel. So this panel has been opened for this particular file. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to follow this naming convention, that is basically the camel case, or you can say the upper camel case. So now I'm just going to create the variable with the name first name. So this is our variable. As we all know, the name is going to be the data types for the name is going to be in the text form. Therefore, the type of variable is going to be a string, and the scope will be like variable underscore sequence. So this is the like how we can create the variable for any given workflow file, or you can say for any given activity for the UiPath. So suppose that I'm just going to show you all that how we can distinguish between legal or illegal variable, or you can say how we can distinguish between valid or invalid variable. So just I'm going to create a variable. So suppose that I'm going to create a variable that is going to start with this any number, say that is 6. So 6, I'm just going to write first. So we'll see that this is not going to create the variable for us. It is going to give us the warning. So once we create, we'll get this. So the given 6 first name is not a valid variable name. Variable name can contain letters, digit, and the underscore character. That means we cannot use the numbers at the starting of the variable creation name. So this is, we can consider as the illegal variable that I have listed here. You can see here, we cannot create any variable with starting with any digit. So this is about the illegal variable. Once we create any illegal variable, then we are going to get the warning like this. So suppose again I'm going to use the space between two different words. Again, let me create the space between first and name. Again we are going to get the warning. So once we'll hit the enter from the keyboard, we'll get the warning like given name is not a valid variable name. The variable name can contain only this letters, digit, and underscore character. So these are some we have to follow certain rules. So for creation of the variable, the better rule would be like we have to follow the naming convention, or our variable should be like that. That should be reflect the activity or the file on which we are working. Okay, so it should be like relevant with our project on which we are working. So accordingly, the user can create the variable name as per the activity or the project on which the particular user is working. So that should be meaningful. So now we'll see how we can create variable. So we've already seen the creation of variable from the variable panel. Now we'll see some more options apart from this variable panel. We have also some one or two options from where we can create the variable. So we'll see that particular topic. So how we can create the variable. So till now basically we have discussed what is basically the variable. So and after that we have discussed the 4 different type of fields. And after that we have seen like we have discussed the naming convention. And the naming, for the naming convention, it should be like upper camel case, and the name should be like that. It should reflect the activity it should reflect the like the type of automation project on which the user is basically working. So like it should be meaningful. The main motto is that it should be meaningful. After that we have discussed like we have seen some example of legal and illegal variable. Now I'm going to discuss about the how we can create the variable in the UI path on any automation project. So I have already discussed for the creation of variable, we must have at least one activity in the designer panel. So that I have already shown to all of you. So once you can see here, this is our activity, or you can say the workflow file that I have renamed as the variable underscore sequence. Basically that particular file is a sequence file whose name is basically I have renamed as the variable underscore sequence. So without any activity or file in the designer panel, we cannot create the variable. Okay, so once let me delete this particular. So for the deletion of how we can delete this particular file, we have to just right click from the mouse, and then this option is going to be appear, and from here we can delete. So after deleting, you can see here this variable panel is disabled. Okay, so that means without any activity in the main file or the designer panel, we cannot create the variable. Okay, that means that is like meaningless. Okay, so we are creating basically the variable for any activity. Therefore, for the creation of the variable, the activity should be the most important thing. Okay, so the first thing is that we must have any activity. So without dropping any activity from the activity, or you can say file from the activity panel, we cannot create the variable. So after once we drop the file from the activity panel, now our variable panel will be activated, and now we can create the variable. So for creation of variable, we have some certain options. The first option I'm just going to discuss. We can create the variable from the context menu. So first I'm going to discuss about for the creation of variable by using context menu. As we know, after right clicking the activity, the context menu appears, and from this context menu we can choose the option create variable, and this following screenshot will appears, and then we can create the variable. So now I'm going to discuss this particular thing. Earlier we have this we have discussed this creation of variable from the variable panel. Now we'll see how we can create the variable from the context menu just by right clicking the activity. So now I'm just going to open this. Okay, so I'm just going to drop activity for the creation of variable. The activity should be required, or file should be required. So what I'm going to drop here, I'm just going to you can see here, this is my activity panel on the left side of the screen, and I'm just going to double click on this sequence. So this sequence file has been dropped here. So what I will do, I will just right click here, and this you can see this is the context menu that has been opened. So you can see here under this context menu, we are getting these many options, like we are getting the options like we are getting the option like rename, open, collapse, copy, paste, delete, annotations, copy as image. So I'm getting multiple options. So under this, one of the option is like create a variable. Okay, so from this also we can also create the variable. Once we click on this create variable, okay, so automatically our variable panel will be created, and now we can create the variable for our particular activity or particular file. So this is one of the option by which we can create. So basically we'll discuss 3 options by which we can create the variable for any particular activity or file. So this is one of those 3 different type of creation of variable. So now we're moving ahead. So there are basically three ways to create variables in UiPath. So by using variable panel, we have already seen this. So apart from this variable panel, we have two more options, that is by context menu and the properties panels. So we'll discuss all these three one by one. So this is, you can see, we have already discussed this, how we can create from this context menu. Now I'm going to show you all how we can create the variable by using this property panel. So this is our like main, you can see here, consider this sequence file as the main workflow file. And now under this, depending upon our application, we have to drop any activity. So suppose that once we discuss this sequence file tomorrow, in the tomorrow morning session, then we'll discuss in detail. We'll take some particular example, then we'll discuss what is this sequence file. Then there we'll discuss in detail about this sequence file. But to just like discuss this variable in our argument, we have to use any file. Therefore, for that purpose only, I have used here sequence. Otherwise, this sequence will be covered in very much detail in tomorrow session. Okay, so there will see the definition portion, and we'll try to like make any project using this sequence. So now under this sequence file, basically we have to drop so many activity as per our requirement to make any automation project. Suppose that I'm just going to drop this input dialog box. So basically we have so many number of activity in the activity panel. Out of this input dialog box is basically used to get the information from the user. You can see as its name says, this is input dialog. That means this is used to provide the input from the user. So this input dialog has basically two fields. One is the title field, and second is the label field. And to provide the inputs, this in these two different fields, you can see the title and the label field. The text must be quoted. That means you have to provide the information or the text inside a double quote. So suppose that I'm going to give the title as the. Suppose as just I'm going to give the title as the. Suppose. Please enter your name. Just I'm discussing how we can create the variable. I'm not going to make any automation project. For the sake of explaining this creation of variable using this property panel, that's why I have dropped here one input dialog. Otherwise, this particular will be discussed in detail tomorrow. Next, we have to enter this label here, or you can say the question that we want to ask from the user. Suppose that I want to ask the question like, what is your name? Suppose any. So this again, this particular. So you can see, once we click on this, you can see here. Sir, please mute your audio. Sir, please mute your audio. So in this main sequence file, what I have done, I have dropped one input dialog box. That is basically, I want to get the information from the user. And that input dialog, we have basically two different fields. One is the title field. That means I want to give any title to that particular input dialog. Okay, that means I want to get the name of the, I want to get the user name. And then second is the question. And the question is, what is your name? So once we click on this input dialog, I want to create the variable for that, because once the user will provide the name, so therefore we must have any variable where the name of the user can be stored. Okay, so to get the name from the user and to save that particular name, we have to create the variable. Okay, so once we click on this, so we can create the variable by the three different options. One is the variable panel that you can see here at the bottom of my screen. Second is the context menu. We can simply click on this and we can create variable. And the third option is, once we click on this input dialog, then this you can see here on the right side of my screen. You can see here, this is the property panel, and here under this result section we can go click on here, and just by clicking Control and K simultaneously from the keyboard. So once we press the Control and K simultaneously, then this set variable option will appear, and now you can create the variable. So just I'm going to create the variable with the name. Okay, so since I'm I'm asking the name of that particular user, therefore I'm just creating the variable with the name. Once we'll click enter, you can see here this name variable will be appear in the variable panel. So these are the three different options by which we can create the variable for any particular activity, or you can say any particular inside any particular file. Okay, so you can see here this sequence is our main file. Okay, and under this sequence file, and depending upon our application, we have to connect number of activities. So we'll discuss in detail tomorrow. So to just like my main aim, or you can say the main motto of my today's session is to discuss about the variable. So since we have multiple option of creation of variable, and therefore actually I want to discuss, because this like once we start the working on any automation project, then there is our option. You must have like acquainted about all this kind of like operations of creation of variable and then deletion and all the things. Okay, and we must have like very much acquainted with the like what is activity panel, what is variable panel, what is argument panel, what is properties panel. I think that I have already discussed in the second session about the different type of like panel. So, but since I'm discussing about this variable and arguments, therefore I'm discussing about in detail about this variable panel. Okay. So this is how we can create the variable. So we can create the variable by three different ways. By the property panel, you can see this is the right side on my screen. This is the property panel, and how we can get this property panel. For that, we have to just click on this any activity, then this panel will be automatically opened, and then under this result, we have to keep our cursor, like we have to just click on with the help of our mouse, and then by pressing Ctrl and K, we can create the variable as per our requirement. Since in this particular project, actually I want to get the name of the user, therefore I have created the variable with the name. Okay, so this is about the variable creation. So yes, okay, so this is our variable, how we can create variable. So now we'll discuss about the so we have already like we have discussed about the three different way by which we can create the variable. The first is the variable panel, second is the designer panel, or you can say simply the context menu, and third one is the property panel, from where we can just select any particular activity, and after selecting any particular activity, we have to go to the results tab, and then we have to simply press the Ctrl and K, then set variable option will appear, and then we can create the variable for that particular activity. So after this, we'll discuss the how we can remove. Okay, so we have discussed this variable. So sometime what happens, we have to like remove the variable, then we must have the knowledge about the how we can remove the particular variable from this automation project. Yes, yes, we will discuss arguments. Yes, sir, arguments passing with variable, could you explain? Yes, we'll discuss this argument. Okay, so after this, once variable will be finished, then we'll discuss the argument, and we'll then try to understand the difference between variable and argument, and we'll try to like not today but tomorrow after this sequence. Once we'll discuss the sequence, and we'll do some like example and project on the sequence, then we'll discuss the argument example, then there we'll try to pass the like the information using this argument from one workflow to the other. Okay, so we'll discuss this particular argument, and by using this we'll see how we can pass the information from one file to other. So after this, till now what we have discussed in detail about the variable. Okay, the different type of field, and now we'll discuss the next is the we'll discuss the good case practices for the creation of variable. So the use clear and consistent naming convention that we have already discussed. What are those different naming convention? One of the most common is the camel case. We have seen in that very much detail. And in this camel case, each word in the middle of the phrase is capitalized, or you can say each word in the middle of the phrase is in the uppercase, and makes you define the scope of each variable. Remember that a variable defined on a limited scope cannot be used globally. So we'll discuss what I'm talking about here. At the same time, in real automation scenario, it is like very much crucial for variable to be defined only in the scope in which they are used, making multiple variables unnecessarily unnecessary global can cause efficiency issues as well as the possibility for confusion. So we'll see here what is this basically, how we can define the scope of our variable. Suppose that like, again just let me open this. So you can see here for this variable, so actually we are working in the sequence file. Suppose what happens in some cases, we basically work in like more than one number of files. Like suppose that if you're working in any like flow chart, you can see here this is our flow chart file. So inside flow chart, if you have like sequence file, so there we have to like very cautiously define the scope of that particular variable. If you want to use that particular variable only inside the sequence, then we have to give this like sequence scope as the sequence. But if you want to utilize that particular variable outside the sequence file, and if you want that variable to be used in the flowchart file, then we have to use this. We have to define the scope as the flowchart. So everything this like how we can assign any variable scope as the global or local, that will be come in the subsequent coming sessions. So it is not possible to discuss here and to show you all that how we can define the scope as the local and global, because for that we have to use on the particular like two different files. Since just I am demonstrating the types how we can create and remove the variable, therefore it is not possible here for me to just demonstrate. For that we have to work on the two different separate files, then we'll can understand. But as the sessions will be progress, then we can easily understand this like what is the local and what is the global variable. But for now what I can say, we have to assign the scope of the variable as per our requirement, and we have to give the scope where we want to use that particular variable. Okay, so that basically depends upon the area of our requirement. Okay, so if our area of requirement is like large, then accordingly we have to assign the variable. So this is about the scope. So these are some good case practices. That means the most important thing we can see is the naming convention. We have to follow the naming convention. That means our variable name should reflect the activity on which we are performing, on which we are working. And second is the scope. Okay. So these two are very important. And the third is the variable type, and that should be as per the data type on which we are working. So now we'll after this is all about the variable. Okay. So now we'll see how we can remove the variable from the activity or the file. So if at any point of time, if our variable is not required, or you can say if our variable is not required for the any automation project, so we have to remove that particular variable. So we'll see how we can remove the variable from the file or workflow file. So basically for the deletion or removing for the removing of any variable, we have two different type of methods. So the first method is like we can directly delete the variable by just going to the variable panel, and then we can right click the variable that we want to delete, and after clicking the delete option, we can simply delete the selected variable. Okay. And the second method is to second method is again we have to go to the variable panel and then select and we have to select that particular variable that we want to delete. And now we can instead of right clicking, we simply press the delete button from keyboard and we can select the variable from the variable panel. So just I'm going to demonstrate that how we can. So for that, suppose that I have created here a variable with the for this input dialog as the with the name. So let me create one more variable so that we can easily understand how we can delete. So just I'm going to create the more variable, the name first name. Again, I'm just going to select the type as a string type. So one more thing, if you do not, actually I have already discussed earlier in the previous slides. So if you do not assign the type of variable, then automatically the type of variable is going to be the string. Okay, so you can consider this string type as the by default type. Okay, so next let me create one more variable. So I'm just going to create the name last name. So this is our again third variable. So you can see here we have created three variable: name, first name, last name. So suppose that at any point of time, if the variable with the name is not required, then how we can delete this? Again, we have got two different methods. So what I can do here? So suppose that just let me. So you can see here, this is our input dialog, and we know that we have set three different variable for this. So just let me open this. So you can see here, find out your name, first name. So for deleting this name, I have opened this variable panel. Now I'm going to select this. After selecting, we have to just right click here. After once we right click here, this like pop-up message will be appear, and we can get the options like convert to argument. Okay, so from here we can directly convert this variable to argument. So before that, we have to like understand what is argument basically. And then after this, we'll get the option of copy. Okay, if you want to copy this name variable, and if you want to utilize this particular variable for some other project or some other workflow file, then we can use there. And then we can get the delete option, add annotation option. Since I want to delete this particular variable, so how I can delete? Just by clicking on delete, you can see here this variable with the name has been deleted successfully. So this is the process by right clicking the mouse, we can select any particular variable. So now we are left with the this three different variable. Suppose that I want to delete this last name variable by using this delete keyword from the keyboard. Then how I can delete? I have to simply select this, and then after pressing the delete button from the keyboard, you can see directly this has been deleted. Okay, so these are two different methods by which we can delete two variables. Okay, so for deletion of any variable, we have to open the variable panel, and then from there we have to, depending upon our requirement, we can delete the particular variable. So this is about how we can delete, and this is all about the variable. Since the variable is very important once we work on the, any workflow file for making any automation project, there this variable is required. Therefore, we have discussed this variable in very much detail. So now we'll see we'll discuss about the argument. After this, we'll discuss this argument. What is argument? Sir, please mute your audio. Sir Prasad, please mute, close your video. Thank you, sir. So now after this variable, we have discussed this variable in very much detail, starting from this naming convention and four different type of fields like the name, variable type, scope, and the default, and thus how we can create and delete the variable. Now the topic for the last topic for the today's session is argument. So we'll see what is basically argument, and we'll try to understand the argument in very much detail. Okay. So how we can manage arguments in UiPath Studio, that I'm going to discuss in detail. So whatever we are basically discussing, that is with respect to the UiPath only, because we, for this particular FTP session, that is on robotics process automation, we have designed our complete session based on the UiPath only. So arguments is basically this resembles arguments resembling variables are used to pass data from one workflow to another. So unlike the variable, they are used to store in variable. What we have the definition of variable is that is basically used to store the data for any particular activity. Okay, or you can say the particular file. But this argument that resembles similar to the variable that is also used to store the data. But this is basically used to store the data, or you can say used to pass the data from one workflow to another. So just let me again open the UiPath so that I can explain in some better way. So you can see here, this is our sequence file. Okay. So in this sequence file, we can, depending upon our application, we can add like number of activity inside this sequence file, and for each of the activity file, to store the information provided by the user, we have to create the variable, and that particular variable is going to be used for that particular activity or for this particular sequence file. But this argument is also used to store, or you can say the pass the information provided by the user, but this is not for the particular activity. This argument is used to pass the information or data by the user from one workflow to another workflow. So simply you can see here, this is our one sequence file. But suppose that if I'm creating one more sequence file, so how we can create? This is our sequence file. So I'm going to just create again one more sequence file. So what I will do, I will just click on this new, and then again you can see here, this is sequence. So I'm just going to just change the name of this file, sequence1. So after this, you can see here, my second sequence file has been created here. Okay, so I think all of you are able to see this. So what I have done here, I have created two different sequence files. This is my first sequence file, and this is second sequence file. So this variable is basically, if you create any variable to store the information or the data, so that variable is basically going to pass the information only within the activity that are for this particular sequence file. But if you want to pass any data from one sequence file to another sequence file, or you can say from the sequence to the sequence1 file, so there you have to use the argument. Okay, to pass the data from one workflow to another, we have to pass the argument. So we'll discuss one example tomorrow. There I will show you how we can pass the data or information from one file to another file. Okay, so this is basically the definition of this argument. This basically resembles like the variable, and it is also used to store or pass the data. But the data that is going to be passed with the help of argument is basically from one workflow to another. Whether in the case of variable, the data is going to be passed from one activity to another within a one single workflow file. Okay, so this is basically the main difference. In case of variable, the data or the stored information is basically going to be utilized in a single workflow file. Whether by using the arguments, we can pass the data from one workflow to another one. So this is the like main key word, or you can say the main difference between the argument and file. So this argument can store data dynamically and pass it on. One difference between the variable and argument is that a variable pass data to other activity within a single workflow file, while argument pass data to other workflow file. So you can see here, you can find out the difference between the variable and argument. And tomorrow we'll also see the like one project where we'll try to pass the information from one workflow file to another. So today actually I cannot able to show you the example, because for that we must have the knowledge about the some work, how we can work on any particular workflow file. So therefore, once I will cover this sequence in detail, then after that I'm able to discuss this argument example, because there we have to create two different workflow file, and then we'll see how we can pass the information that is basically stored in one workflow file to another workflow file. So we'll discuss this particular argument example tomorrow session. In UiPath Studio, arguments are of different types. Hence, we can create different type of arguments like generic value. So the type of, I'm going to discuss the type of argument file that are available in this UiPath Studio. So that are basically generic value, text number, data table, object, and Boolean. So an important point about argument is that they have a specific direction that tells the application where the information is stored is supposed to go. So apart from this type of variable and so many other fields, let me just open the argument panel so that I can discuss about this direction portion. So an important point, this is very important with respect to the argument, that about the argument, they have a specific direction that tells the application where the information is stored is supposed to go. The direction can be in, out, and property. This property is like obsolete, and this is not used nowadays. So basically, you can say here we have this 3 different type of direction in the argument. So those directions are like in directions, out direction, and third one is the in and out direction. Okay. So we'll see. So just let me open the argument panel. So I'm just going to delete this. So this is our sequence workflow file. So I'm going to like the variable panel. You can see here we are getting here 4 different files, 4 different fields. So once we'll open this argument, so you can see here we are getting here this name, direction, argument type, and default value. Okay. So instead of scope, we are not getting any scope field here. What we are getting here we are getting the direction field. Okay. So this name again, we should follow this upper camel case for this naming convention, so that we should reflect the activity or the workflow file on which we are working. Sir Naresh, please mute your audio. Sir, please mute your audio. So you can see here, actually I have opened this argument panel. To open the argument panel, what we have to do? We have to simply click on the arguments button here. So once we click on this arguments panel will be open, and we'll get this 4 different type of field, similar like we have earlier used to get in the variable, but we are not getting here the scope field. Okay. Sir, please mute your audio. Sir, please mute your audio.
पैसे मिलो तो नुकसान करता है,
सर
बाकी पॉकेट का नहीं करता।
सर
वाली बात है। सब्जी चौक लगाते हैं।
प्लीज म्यूट योर ऑडियो।
ये डेप्यूटी है, अपनी तो रह गया काम है उनके पास। इतना आगे थोड़ा चार्जर और लगा ले आपका।
हेलो,
अब हो जाएगा सर। कोरोना प्लस
हेलो। सो
क्या है वो बर्थडे विश कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हो?
आई एम जस्ट सर नरेश, प्लीज म्यूट ऑडियो।
यस प्लीज।
थैंक यू। So I'm discussing hello argument panel. So once we click on this argument panel, we'll get here the 4 different fields, and that is name field, direction field, and argument type, and default value. So again, you can see here, if you want to create any like argument, suppose that I'm just creating the argument with the arg_in. So that is the name. So you can see here, these are the directions: in, out, in and out, and this what one is the property that I've already discussed, that this is like nowadays obsolete. Only these 3 directions are basically used. So suppose that, and these all 3 directions have like different work to perform. Once suppose that if you are using this in direction, that means your information that you have stored with this argument_in is going to be utilized only inside a particular workflow file. Okay. Suppose that if you want to pass that information from one workflow file to another, then you have to use the direction as the out direction. And suppose that if you want to use that particular argument stored information with the help of argument inside that particular workflow and outside that workflow to some other workflow file, then we have to use this in and out. So depending upon our application, whether if you want to utilize that particular stored information if you want to pass that information only within a single activity inside a, like one workflow file, then we have to use this in direction. If you want to pass the direction like information from one workflow to another, then we have to use this out direction. And if you want to pass the information from the one to other, and similarly you want to utilize at the same time within the same workflow, then we have to use this in out. So this is about the direction of this argument. So this is the main, you can say, the difference between the variable and argument. In the variable, we do not have any options like the direction, because in the variable case, we have to use the information only within a single workflow file. Okay, so you can see here, whatever we are going to store inside a particular sequence file, we are not going to, if you are using this variable to store that particular information, then by using that variable, you are not going to pass the information from this sequence file to another sequence file, or you can say from this sequence file to another workflow file. Okay, but if you are using argument to store the information, then we can selecting that direction, we can pass the information from one to other. So this is kind of main difference between this argument, and we'll see how we can pass the information from one to another. So again, this is the argument panel. As its name suggests, this is basically used to create the arguments, and it enables us to make changes to them. So we can also, apart from creating argument as per our requirement and application, we can also changes to the created arguments already. So you can see here, this is the screenshot that I have taken from here. So this is the particular argument panel for this sequence file. So in the above screenshot, you can notice that there are 4 fields, namely name, directions, argument type, and default. In the argument panel, the following is the now I'm going to just explain about the name. It is again a mandatory field like in the variable. In the variable, we have 3 different mandatory field: name, type, and then scope. Now we'll see what are the mandatory field in the argument. The first is the name field. Again, this is the mandatory field, and we must have to give name to the argument. Suppose if you are not giving any name, then same like the variable, the UI path is going to be to generate one automatically, and we'll get the by default name as the, you can see here. If you do not, just let me delete this, then I can this. So once we'll create, like if you're not going to, if you're not going to give any name to the argument, then UI path will automatically generate one argument with the name as the argument. Okay. So it is recommended again that we should follow the naming convention, and that should reflect the activity or the work on which we are working basically on, or you can say that should reflect the automation project on which we are working basically. So, and this is the naming convention is similar to the variable that we have already discussed. So again, that cannot be start with any number. Your argument cannot start with any number, and it should not have any like any character apart from underscore. It should not have any space between 2 different numbers. So everything regarding with respect to this naming is going to be same as for the variable. So now we'll discuss about the direction. It is also a mandatory field which enables us to select the direction for our argument. So again, this in direction is basically used to use the information stored in the form of argument only within a single workflow. Out, this direction is basically used to pass the information from one workflow to another. In out is basically used to pass the information within and outside the given workflow. So now the third field is the argument type, and it is also a mandatory field, and which enables us to choose the type of argument, and we have to choose among the various type of argument type that are available, ranging from boolean, integer, string, object, generic value, array, and we can also browse from the argument type field, and depending upon our like activity or depending upon our project on which we are working, we can browse the type and we can choose that particular type. Okay. So if you do not choose any type, then UI path again for this argument is by default is going to be as the string type, and the fourth field is the optional field. So like again in this argument panel, while creation of any argument for any workflow or any activity, where we'll get like the 4 different type of fields. You can see here these are the 4 different type of field: name, direction, argument type, and default value. Out of these 4, these first 3 are like mandatory, and depending upon our requirement, we have to choose all these 3. And this default value is again the default. And this is like default value is mainly used where we are basically work with any numerical type of data. Okay, so we'll see that. So this is about this argument type. So next tomorrow we'll discuss how we can use this argument. An example. So this is all about today's session. So if you have any doubt, then you can ask. Otherwise, today's session is over. And tomorrow we'll discuss in the first session this sequence. Okay, so we'll discuss in detail about the sequence file. Okay, so how we can work on any particular sequence workflow file, and we'll see some like example. And after that, this variable and argument after like today's session, we are going to be frequently use this variable and argument whenever it is required. Okay. So this is like variable and argument is very important topic for working on any automation project. So this is all about the today's session. Thank you all. If you have any question, then you guys can ask. Otherwise, okay. So I think PPT has been already uploaded on this e-portal. Okay, so that e-portal link has been sent to all of you. So you can go there and you can access the day-wise content. Actually, on the like e-portal of the NILET Gorakhpur, you can find all the content and as well as the PPT also. So you can go there, you can access the content for each of the sessions separately, and at the end of each of the session, you will find 5 different 5 multiple choice questions that are very simple and like very that are related to the sessions only. So you can go there, you can attempt the MCQ, okay, and you can also find the PPT there, okay. So in case of you have any problem, then you can like ask your problem. Okay, thank you all. We'll meet again tomorrow when we'll start the sequence, and we'll see like example for all this variable and this argument.